My name is Justin Hayes. I'm 19. I'm at Prevention Point right now because I have a housing situation. I'm currently homeless and I'm looking for a place to stay in a rehab. In high school is when I really started using drugs heavily, and started using harder drugs when I was 15 and 16 years old. I was in my first detox when I was 17, and a lot of my drug use stemmed from not being able to stay in my house. It's rough living out there. You have to deal with people trying to rob you. If you're sick, God forbid, you have to get somewhere to get help. That's hard. Being hungry, not having money, all that leads to wanting to escape it, and people turn to drugs because that is an escape. I believe that if I had the correct medicine in the beginning, then I wouldn't be where I am today. If my problems, my anxiety and my depression were addressed at a younger age and caught on early with the correct medication and the proper care, that I think the addiction would be non-existent or not as bad, and many of my problems would be more controlled. A lot of the time I was trying to find a doctor that accepted my insurance. And once I would find a doctor, they wouldn't prescribe certain medication, or they would and it wouldn't work, and then eventually I would just give up. And I was alone in that process, and at the age that I was, I could have used some guidance, because I was just blindly going to a place and asking, for a doctor. And a lot of the time I didn't understand stuff. I would sign paperwork, I would sign releases, and I felt taken advantage of. So that led me to just not seek the help I wanted. It was hard to reach out for help because of my age. I felt embarrassed. It wasn't typical for a 17-year-old kid to be on heroin. So I was nervous and I was scared and I was feeling a lot of different things on top of my housing situation, which was rough. So a lot of things were going through my mind, and the only thing that I could escape it was through drugs. Finding a bed has been so hard. I've been calling for about 2 months now, and there's no beds available. Just the well-being of having a roof over your head gives you a good feeling, I'll be able to work. I'd be able to rest my head easily. My anxiety would probably be a lot less. I'd be a lot happier. Being out here is pretty hopeless. If they treated addiction as more of a health disorder rather than a criminal problem, that would prevent a lot of useless money being wasted on people going to prison rather than people getting treatment. Because right now, there's a cell waiting for me. God forbid if I get caught getting well, but there's not a rehab bed for me. So it's completely backwards, and the system is set up that way. And if there was maybe a law enacted or some funding available that can be transferred from one to another, it will go a long way, because this is a real disease. It is proven to be a disease, and it should be treated as a disease, not as a criminal problem. People are dying because they can't get the treatment they need, but they can go, if they get caught, they're going right to prison, and they got a cell waiting for them, and that's perfectly fine. But it's not fine to find a rehab bed. So a lot of that can be solved if it was treated the way it should be, as a health problem, not as a criminal problem. This housing problem leads to addiction directly. It's a direct result, because these people that don't have anywhere to live are so hopeless they have nothing to do but turn to drugs, because that's all that they know. Maybe if I didn't use drugs, I'd be able to turn things around and maybe work, and be able to get in a place of my own and get my life on point, like a normal person.